when people would themselves volunteer and tell you, I want to tell you, हवा तो अमृतपाल की ही है, अमृतपाल की हवा है. And then you would ask them कि why? बड़ा उन दिनों बड़ा धक्का हुआ. धक्का as in, we understand धक्का, injustice. So Akali Dal, their president Sukhbir Singh Badal, at every rally, he would take out a photograph of the this damaged Akal Takht, which is the temporal seat of the Sikhs, and say this is the damage done by Congress. Will you vote for Congress? Don't forget what it's done to you. They are people like us, Aam Aadmi, and the complaint was that Aam Aadmi khas ban gaya hai. हमारे पास ही नहीं आता.
Hello and welcome to the Indian Express. So, in a shocking news that is coming from Punjab, that the Waris Punjab chief Amritpal Singh, who is now currently in the Dibrugarh jail under National Securities Act, has won from Khadoor Sahib seat. And in another news, Sarabjeet Singh Khalsa, the eldest son of an assassin of PM Indira Gandhi, has won in Faridkot. So we are going to discuss why these hardline politics are emerging lately in Punjab. We have with us Manraj Grewal Sharma, the resident journalist of the Indian Express from Chandigarh. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. So my first question will be, you have mentioned about some unresolved issues in Punjab. So what are they and how they are coming to play in this situation?
Yeah, so the election of these two, the victory of these two candidates, Amritpal and Sarabjeet, they have raised. I mean, lots of people are very concerned about their win because Punjab has had a very tumultuous phase. We call it the dark decade of militancy, and nobody wants the state to return to it. But the point is that there are a lot of issues which started the cause for militancy at that point of time. There was something called the Dharam Yudh Morcha. So that was launched on the issue of division of river waters between Punjab, Haryana, and Rajasthan. So that issue continues. Then, of course, 1984 anti-Sikh killings took place. There are that too becomes an issue off and on in election, justice to the victims and how that's been lingering on for years and so on. And then you have the off late we've had for a couple of years, a certain section has been demanding the release of Sikh political prisoners. So who've served over 3 decades in jail, more than 30 years and so on. So they're saying if you can pardon others, why not pardon? And some of them include the killers of former late Chief Minister Beant Singh. He was a Congress Chief Minister, was killed by a human bomb in 1992. So these are some of the issues. And then what happens is, there are layers over it. When you talk about unresolved issues, it's not just these. Punjab has been ravaged by drugs. It's a border state, so it was part of the drug route. And then eventually it started consuming drugs. So drugs are a very big issue and they have not been resolved. Every successive government comes to power saying, we have an antidote and you give us 40 days in power and we will get rid of it. So be it Captain Amarinder, be it the present Chief Minister Bhagwant Singh Mann, he said last Independence Day, he said by this August, I will wipe out drugs from the state. That hasn't happened. Then there is an issue of sacrilege. So that took place in 2015. So until now, we keep having some special, those SITs, special investigation teams, etc. But there's no closure to the case. And it started with one, and after that, there have been a spate of such cases, and some of which led to lynchings also, which is very, very unfortunate. So this is the matrix in which you have these two. And also, Punjab also is facing a leadership vacuum of sorts. So, for a very long time, we had this alliance between Akali Dal and the BJP. So it was considered a guarantor of communal harmony in the state because these two uh, parties came together and they had a moderating influence on everyone.
Thank you, Manraj. And now forwarding to the second question, that is, the present government started a manhunt on Amritpal Singh in 2023, and which you have said that it has affected the local population in a bad way. How has that happened?
We were on an election tour and these are the voices we heard because we were very surprised when people would themselves volunteer and tell you, I want to tell you, Hawa to Amritpal ki hi hai, Amritpal ki hawa hai. And then you would ask them ki why? I mean, because you see, when he was finally arrested, people thought there will be protests. Maybe he has such a huge fan following, but that didn't happen. Nobody came out on the streets to protest against his arrest. Then his mother was also detained for a couple of days. There were no protests, not even a single voice saying anything. So now that he stands for elections, and suddenly you have people saying, it's like out in the open that, we are very vocal support. So then I asked them, so one of the reasons almost everyone gave is that उन दिनों बड़ा धक्का हुआ. Dhakka as in, uh, we understand dhakka, injustice. So they said what happened is during the time he was on the run, which was quite a long time, so a lot of youngsters were picked up. So anybody who was associated with him in any which way, I was told, I don't know how much truth there is to it, but then even if a youngster reposted his tweets, he was picked up. So we do know that about 300 youngsters were picked up and they were later released. Most of them were released. So this, and then there was internet shutdown for quite a number of days, for more than a week. So people said this is an overreaction. If you had to go and arrest him, you could have arrested him. And we even met cops saying, ki bada dhakka hua. So that maybe, and also another very interesting thing is when we would ask people, ki, why are you going to vote for him? What is so appealing about him? They would say, he had launched a crusade against drugs. And so people, they're not saying that it is because he's asking for a separate state, because I met him and he did spew a lot of venom. Like he came with a huge, a tirade of injustices, of incidents which I had never heard of, that right from before independence, etc. So all against the Indian state. So which is why I thought maybe the sympathies, maybe there is some sort of, people are aligning with that kind of ideology. So I found that wasn't there.
So in the article, you have mentioned about economist Dr. Lakhvinder Singh, and where he has written about some economic challenges in Punjab. How is that coming into play in this situation, and how is that thing fueling the winning of Amritpal or Sarabjeet?
So I think Dr. Lakhvinder was trying to find out why youngsters are attracted to such forces. So he said that in Punjab, the state never really recovered from militancy. So militancy hit the education system the hardest because schools and colleges were closed for months, or there were curfews. For 5 years, there was president's rule. So that Punjab really never recovered from it. So when it comes to the financial situation of the state, it's very heavily in debt. And green revolution is done and dusted with. The fruits of the green revolution are over. Now you were supposed to have, agri-based industries. You were supposed to have production. You were supposed to step by step go to another dimension, right? But that didn't happen. Punjab continues to be a heavily agrarian state, depending on wheat and paddy. So one, you don't have a good education system, then you don't have jobs, which is why everyone, including, earlier it was that only well-heeled families would send their children abroad. But now It could be a driver, it could be a worker. They will mortgage their land, sell their land, but send their children abroad. So Dr. Lakhvinder Singh was saying there is this very deep crisis, economic crisis in Punjab. And so Punjab is in a kind of pain. So it's a poor state for, for a long time. It was this shining example of development, progress, or whatever. But that is no longer so. So when you look at the indices, we don't fall into those top 5 states or so on. So this is a poor state with rich people. So there is this paradox, and people have very high aspirations. So when you look at Punjab, you see those big gadis and people all dressed up well. But then there is a very tangible lack of jobs. So that's what he was saying, that what Punjab needs is development. The people are not getting it from the traditional parties, from the actors, the political actors which are there in the state. So it's looking at so they are looking at an alternative. And since Punjabis are they are not averse to risk. Look at the huge mandate they gave AAP. AAP was considered, I remember, Punjabis used to call it Navi Party, new party. But they were completely okay. There were no compunctions about pussyfooting around the new party. They gave them 92 of the 117 seats. So now they assume that there is this guy, he speaks a lot against drugs. He says, and he also talks about unemployment. Of course, he also talks about very separatist. He talks ill about the injustices done to the state, which sometimes are merely perceived. So that was Dr. Singh was trying to make a point. Then this is, the point. The crux of the issue is development, not a separate state.
Thank you. Coming to the Sarabjeet Singh Khalsa episode, do you think that people feel a kind of sympathy and to him and to his family, and what played as a factor behind his winning in the Faridkot seat?
But what confounds me is when he filled up his nomination papers, I think at the fag end of the period where you're allowed to do so, I was very surprised because he's done so thrice earlier. And all 3 times he's failed at the hustings. His mother, contested. And in fact, she was a member of parliament in the very same parliament in which Rajiv Gandhi was there. So, but that was long back. That was immediately after Operation Blue Star. So this is about 40 years later. So we never gave him a chance. We thought he has contested earlier. He has lost. So what is different about this time that he will win? And this time, all he did was tell people that, nobody gave me a damn. My father avenged Operation Blue Star. But look at what the Panth, the community, it gave 2 hoots to me. So I think what actually happened was this was the 40th anniversary of Operation Blue Star. So Akali Dal, their president Sukhbir Singh Badal, at every rally, he would take out a photograph of the this damaged Akal Takht, which is the temporal seat of the Sikhs, and say, this is the damage done by Congress. Will you vote for Congress? Don't forget what it's done to you. So he was and this was in Faridkot. This was the constituency from where Sarabjeet Singh Khalsa is contesting. So I guess what happened is he was trying to drum up anger against Congress, and he became the beneficiary. Because here was this man whose father was part of this whole 84 narrative. And to make matters worse, SGPC, the body that looks after the Sikh Gurudwaras, Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee, it put up posters at several places reminding people that it's 40th anniversary of Operation Blue Star. So I guess that could be one reason, because, a person who you have not voted for thrice earlier, then you suddenly wake up and decide that now is the time to vote for him. And strangely, pitted against him, AAP had pitted a very popular actor and singer against him, Karamjit Anmol. And there was Hansraj Hans. He's a Sufi singer. He was a Delhi MP earlier. So it wasn't, and this guy came out, he was a dark horse. Nobody thought, we thought maybe he'll get a lakh. I mean, at worst, at most, he'll get a lakh. We never thought he will win. So this came as a surprise to us as well.
So last question I'm coming to. What do you see? Where do you see AAP in coming years in electoral politics in Punjab? And how will people be still accepting to them, or it was only the drug issue that brought them to power?
No, I think people are looking for an alternative. And if AAP does some soul searching, and we are calling it a wake up call for AAP, because, it gave free power, which reached everyone. You go to Punjab and you'll have very well-heeled people saying, we got a zero bill during the winters or whatever. So, and the Aam Aadmi clinics are doing very well. So these two welfare measures have done very well. But I think if they wake up and if they do some soul searching and if they take solid steps, because what we discovered and what everybody is writing about is that how the MLAs completely went missing from their constituencies. They stopped interacting with with the voters. They stopped being accessible. So this was, people thought they are people like us, Aam Aadmi, and the complaint was that Aam Aadmi khas ban gaya hai. हमारे पास ही नहीं आता. So I think if they do some course correction, people here are very forgiving as well. So I think people have deliberately voted against them in order to give them a jolt. कि 3 साल बचे हैं, maybe the next 3 years, this will make you work.
Thank you, ma'am, for this interesting conversation.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Yeah.